What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. I am so glad you are hanging out with us today. I finally moved in, guys. I know that you guys have been like calling and responding and DMing and all that great stuff, but I am moved in, thank goodness. And so we are here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking, as you know. Today I found someone, he is a cool dude. I like his vibe already. His name is Michael Thornhill. He is the co-founder of Casa Galactica in Peru. Michael is traditionally trained in plant spirit healing, professional channel, and advocate of trauma-informed care. So recovering himself from addiction, trauma, and abuse, he now dedicates his life to helping others heal themselves. And I mean, what a beautiful place to do it in too, right, Michael? Peru? It's probably so like green around you and natural and mountains and beauty. So how are you, Michael? Welcome.
I'm doing great. Thanks, Neena. Yeah, really appreciate you having me on the show. I'm here in Peru right now in the Sacred Valley,
Nice.
in our house just next to our center. And I'll show you again, everyone here quickly, just the mountains behind. Because I know Neena's had a quick brief look, but I wouldn't want to let you miss out.
Look at that. For those of you who are listening audio, go ahead and get on the YouTube because you got to see those mountains. Oh my gosh. So Michael, have you been living there like a long time or?
Yeah, I've been in Peru about 5.5 years, originally from the
Nice.
UK, but about 5.5 years here in Peru. Yeah.
I love that. So Michael, the way I like to start this show is I like my audience to know a little bit more about you. So I know I read a little bit, but just tell us about you. What are you doing right now? What are you into? That kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I am co-founder of Casa Galactica, a multidimensional center for healing and evolution here in Peru. Co-founder with my amazing wife, Jamie, who's also a plant spirit healer, intuitive medium, and a channel as well. And we help people in the following ways. We help people activate their intuition, empower their healing, and embody their truth. We do that with different plant medicines. We have our 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats here in Peru, where we do that with just 4 people in a trauma-informed setting that really helps people awaken and evolve and heal. And then we have a whole host of online trauma healing sessions, intuitive sessions, channeling sessions, again, to help people activate their intuition, empower their healing, and embody their truth. To really summarize that, we dedicate our lives to helping people heal. And we do this in a place that's really safe. It's integrous. Ayahuasca, a sacred plant medicine, is completely legal here where we live in Peru. And this is one of the main reasons why we base ourselves here, that people can come to us and they can have these amazing life transformative experiences, start embodying more love, more hope, more peace, more joy, and letting go of all those things that we accumulate through our lives, through childhood, trauma, abuse, PTSD, depression, anxiety. We help people leave that behind and move forth to embody what it is that they're here to enjoy and express in love, light, and truth on earth.
Wow, that's a lot, right? Because a lot of us carry some trauma and sometimes not knowing that you're living your life, according to the trauma that you've experienced in your life, right? So not fully is what I'm saying. There's always something there that blocks you from really being authentically, fully yourself. So that's really powerful. And I know that, most of these things that we do in our life, right, Michael, come for a reason. So I want to know your reason. What is it that, and why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Like, I know that I read a little bit about your bio about some trauma and abuse and addictions and stuff like that. So can you take us a little bit on that journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So just what you were just talking about, firstly, about when we not embodying our truth or when we're having experience or we see life in a certain way, if we're not aware of the trauma that's beneath us, or if we've not healed from that trauma, even if we are aware of it, we have a certain way of looking at things. We have a certain experience of reality in life. And that's not our fault or anything wrong. It's just that we don't know anything. We don't have a comparison. If we've lived in trauma all of our lives, if we've lived in poverty, if we've lived in oppression or whatever it may be, then that's the experience that we have. We don't have something that is contrasting to that. And that was my experience. I was living in the UK and in Europe and in Germany, and I was in kind of working in the rat race in headhunting, recruitment, and energy for energy companies, and just trying to, live my life, make myself a success. But I was hampered by a lot of addictions, a lot of drug abuse from an early age, from alcohol, smoking, drug, work, money, all of the above and more. And I was trying to just numb myself from the pain that I was experiencing every day. But I didn't know that that was any different. I just thought that was life. That was what life experience was. And every time that I tried to free myself from the grips of these addictions, I was unable to, because I would find myself sober for a few days and just be so uncomfortable, so depressed, so anxious that it felt really impossible at that time in my life to be able to do that. So after my mother passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, there was an awakening moment for me where I got to look death in the face, where I got to see that my mother had been ill all my life and I'd been a caretaker for her in many ways. But when I saw that death passing, it made me really look a little bit deeper at my life. It's like, is this really what I want for my life? Seeing the kind of the finite nature of this human existence. Is this really what I want? Do I want to be someone who dies early through this drug abuse and addiction? And I just felt like, no, I've got to change. And there was this motivation that was there. Okay, I don't need another death in the family. I'm going to change. I'm going to shift. Got into meditation, started working with a sound healer, and that was started to have some very deep awakening processes where I was actually starting to connect with the energy and the spirit of my mother, which didn't make sense to me at the time. I didn't know what any of this meant, and I was just thought I'd gone crazy a little bit. But I found out about ayahuasca through this sound healer, and she told me about the power of this medicine, this Amazonian plant medicine, which can help people heal trauma, addiction, and abuse. But it was really focused in me. It was about healing addiction.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'm ready to try anything. If people are having these results from this, then I'm going to go and try that. And I was lucky enough to be able to find an ayahuasca ceremony near me where I was living in Germany. And I had this absolutely deep, profound awakening where I found out that unconditional love was what I was chasing. All of these synthetics that I was chasing was trying to recreate unconditional love. I got even more in touch with my mother's spirit. I went back to being reborn, to experiencing myself being born and feeling myself lying on my mother's chest, feeling the unconditional love from my family, feeling that unconditional love of going home, and then also simultaneously recognizing that shortly after that experience faded right down into my subconscious, that unconditional love wasn't something that was available and accessible to me. Through that process, I also recognized that we are unconditional love, that's our true nature. And simultaneously, in that same first weekend retreat, I was able to see that the life that I was living, every drug, every time I drank, every time I kind of went and detached myself from life, I was actually avoiding or diverging away from why I'd incarnated here. And this was to be able to help people heal. And this didn't make any sense to me. I'm not like, oh, great, I'm a businessman. Now I know I need to help people heal. This makes sense. I've got all the pieces of the puzzle together. Let's just go and do this. Very confusing. But I then went on a journey after this ayahuasca retreat where I went to India, studied Reiki with a really amazing Reiki master, spent a month immersion there in the Himalayas. And then I went down to the coast and studied yoga. And after that, I went directly from India. I did a brief stint in Nepal, but I went directly from that side of the world into the Amazon rainforest in Peru, and went and did a 3-month immersion in the jungle and started doing deeper healing work with ayahuasca and other plant medicine, studying with indigenous teachers. I then got an apprenticeship and a job working at an ayahuasca retreat center, learning to facilitate and also continuing to study with my teachers on how to hold ayahuasca ceremonies safely and how to work with those shamanic traditions. And then I met my wife here whilst I was doing that, who'd also come to train and to study. And we ended up facilitating ayahuasca retreats together and fell in love and helped many, many people through these deep experiences of healing and transformation, whilst cultivating the unique way that we work with the medicine, which is one that incorporates trauma-informed care, incorporates non-dual teachings, in other words, the recognition of everything as one consciousness, and empowers people that it's the power of your own consciousness that's actually the power of transformation. These plant medicines are here to help you awaken to the truth of who you are, that you are the power, you are your own healer. All of the healing is available to you inside. And through that awareness and awakening, we birthed Casa Galactica, a multidimensional center for healing and evolution, where we're now based in the Andean Mountains in the Cusco region of Peru. And we work with very small, intimate groups with very many different empowerment teachings, channelings, one-on-one sessions, trauma-informed care, additional plant medicines that help clean the mind, body, and spirit, and really just create this container that's full of unconditional love, that's really safe, that's a really powerful opportunity for people to really let go of all that trauma and really come home and embody the truth of who you are.
Wow, that's a journey and a half, huh? So you went from like the rat race and the business and the addiction and all of that to feeling completely like yourself and who you authentically really are. And now are using that to now impact the lives of others. So talk to me about what that means. So if somebody wants to come out to your retreat, is it a retreat? Is that what it is? Is that what you called it? A retreat, right?
Yes, the in-person work that we do here in Peru are 10-day ayahuasca healing and
For 10
evolution
days.
retreats.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, 10 days. So the first thing is preparation, and safety. So we firstly offer anyone who's interested, who's listening to this and is just like, this sounds interesting, but I want to know more about my personal situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can jump to our website at casagalactica.com. And you can just go ahead and book a free 30-minute consultation with us just to find more about your own situation. But say if you've already gone through that process, or you're already just like, I know I want to go, and I want to go to Peru, I want to work with Michael and Jamie, then you'll go through a health and wellness screening questionnaire, which is really in depth to make sure that there's no contraindications from medical conditions or pharmaceuticals or anything else that's going on for you, so that we can
Okay.
get a full, complete overview of your personal situation, so we can ensure that we're able to be the best fit for you for this part of your healing journey. Then you have a personalized consultation online with us via Zoom, where we'll talk in depth about that, any deeper fears or anything else that's arising. Because let's face it, when you decide to go and do a healing journey like this, sometimes deeper fears can arise just through the
Oh,
booking
yeah.
process, and especially going
Mm-hmm.
to a different country as well. So we really want to front end everything with all the information that you have to make an
That's
informed
good.
choice, if that's what you really want to do and this is the benefit for you. So the benefits, like we say, is healing of PTSD, trauma, addiction, depression, anxiety, physical pains, conditions, mental, emotional, spiritual abuse or trauma, whatever it may be. And in my experience, as I shared a little bit about my story, my whole story, I could talk to you here for hours. I know we don't have that long today, but the cliff notes of it is that I was able to heal from unconscious trauma, abuse, ritual abuse, sexual abuse, violent abuse that was at the root cause of my addiction. And this took me through my whole healing journey. This has kind of been a big
Mm-hmm.
part. It's not something that happened overnight. It's been something that's been a big journey. It's been a big process. It continues to heal and unfold. I'm not completely healed. I don't claim to be, yet the process that I've gone through means that I'm happy, content, and able to hold space in a safe way. That my experience is not separate from helping people. My experience is what informs me to be able to create safe spaces for people, because I've lived through that. I've healed through that. I know what it's not like to be so scared to not leave the house for 2 months. I know what it's like to be so afraid and so angry and so distraught, and how to move through that process. It's very challenging. Yet what we aim to do at Casa Galactica is use our own experience, our own trauma-informed care, and our innate connection to spirit, which everyone has connection to spirit, by the way. We use that in conjunction with the plant medicines to help people heal from whatever it is, what that blockage is, from what is preventing you from living as the truth of who you are. So to really kind of come back to that question, is the truth of who you are already exists. It's what have you accumulated? What is blocking you from reaching that potential? What is it that may have happened in your life? Maybe it was that you weren't picked up enough when you were crying as a baby. Maybe there were some abuses. Maybe it was being bullied at school, or maybe it's just feeling out of place and not knowing what your place is in society. Maybe it's systemic racism. Maybe whatever it may be, whatever it could have been, whatever it may be there, we're here to hold that all, to love it all, so that you no longer have to carry that around, so that you can free yourself from that in a way that heals from the inside out at the root cause, not just putting a band-aid on it like an antidepressant or something else may do.
Right.
Although antidepressants do have their place and are very useful for helping people balance. There's nothing against that. But what we're saying here is the healing process that you're going through, when you go through to the root cause, it changes that lens. So when you go through that change, you view and experience reality differently. Your relationship, The way you work is different. The way you enjoy life is different. You're no longer living from that trauma imprint. You're thriving from the truth of who you are.
So I know that the journey is, or at least the time with you is 10 days, but I'm glad that you said that you're even still yourself in the process of healing, right? Because sometimes we're multi-layered, we're multi-dimensional, right? So I'm just wondering, when somebody comes to you with this trauma, are there immediate releases and then releases also like after they leave you? Is this something that they should continue working with you with after the retreat? I'm just trying to gather like how this works right on your healing journey, because I'm sure that a lot of people who are listening, I talk to a lot of people who have overcome a lot of challenges in their life. And I also have a lot of people in my audience that are like coaches and leaders and things like that, and I know that they love these conversations because they're seeing different from different perspectives, right? So
Mm-hmm.
tell me a little bit about that, um, that journey in that healing process. So I know that they come to you for the 10 days, you're going to help them discover what that healing is, and you've already done a lot of the front end work before they even come to you, which is
Mm-hmm.
great, right? So after we've come to you, we're there for 10 days. Like tell me an experience that you've had with maybe a client or something that you've seen, like maybe an immediate release of a hurt, a pain, a trauma, and something that has taken a little bit longer to release. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, great. Well, the first thing to go into the in-depth look so you can find out what the scheduling is, if you go to our website, casagalactica.com, because I'm not going to be able to talk about all of that
Of
here. We've got it
course.
in so much in depth about what that looks for you each step of the way. So if you're not remembering it, just go there, check that out. And just to talk to your audience, what we really dedicate ourselves to is helping dedicated inner truth seekers and multidimensional healers. So we work with people who are healing from trauma, and we also help people who are also doing that healing work for others really fully embody
Oh,
and step
okay.
into the next level of that healing journey.
Okay.
So that's really what we focus on in that sense, and everything really in between. But yeah, the integration is a really big part of the process. So when you've left the retreat, you also have a post-retreat program. I call the 10 days with us is like the crescendo of your healing process, which is kind of like the peak moment of when you're kind of with us in person. You have 4
Mm-hmm.
ayahuasca ceremonies, all of these are the alternative healing modalities and integration that occurs on that retreat process. And then afterwards, you'll also have the one-on-one integration call. Plus, then we have a free monthly integration circle that you can just join continuously for free. So if you want to just continue connecting with other people who've worked with us in our online trauma healing sessions, or intuitive mentorships, or other
Mm.
sessions, or whatever it may be, we have a space for people to come together. That's absolutely free. So we're relaunching that this month. And that's coming out. So this will be this month or next month at the very latest. And we take you through that process. Now, in addition to that, we do all of our online work as well. So we work
I
with
was
some
just going to
clients
ask
who,
about that. Okay.
yeah, so we work
Yeah.
with some clients who just don't want to come to Peru, or just ayahuasca is not a fit, or just like, nah, I'm not ready for this. So we take people through big processes of transformation. I have trauma healing courses, trauma healing mentorships, and people have these really profound changes where
Okay.
I channel different healing songs, which is similar to an ayahuasca ceremony where multidimensionally healing work occurs, although you're not required to ingest ayahuasca in this experience. So people do choose to then continue working with us afterwards, because
Okay.
sometimes when you're on a retreat, that 10-day experience can uncork a lot of repressed emotions. It can really shift change, and you can like, similar to the experience that I talked about, it's like, wow, this is the reason that I've been addicted. How do I unpack and process that? So
Mm-hmm.
we're here because we have an online business, and so much of our work is online as well. We're here for you as long as you need. There is additional charge for continued education and work with us online, but what you have is that continuation of that support system
Right.
with people who are
Right.
trauma informed healers in an online setting. So you don't have to then try and unpack your experience with a therapist who maybe hasn't drank ayahuasca and says like, I went to Peru,
Right.
this experience happened. And it's not that wouldn't work, and that can be really beneficial. And I've done that in my own life, and that type of therapy has been very great. But there's something about having that continuity. So we'll talk about a few different changes. What you might have is an experience where, you might go through this experience, and you might just come out of a retreat experience, and you might be like I was, and you might be addicted to something. And then the difference in the change between the willpower of not wanting to take something, like someone who's stopping smoking or drinking, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to choose a different life. But there's still this kind of like that energy beneath that kind of like we would call like that, the addiction kind of energy or the demon or whatever might be inside you, in that sense of like that's wanting you to continue to do that, like, which was in my case. But then something shifts and changes, and then that urge is not there. That
Right.
addiction energy is not there. So it's like something shifted and changed. You might not know exactly what that is, because when we hold an ayahuasca ceremony, the ceremony is held where many different plant spirits, energies, and vibrations are brought into the ceremony. And it's an active healing process for 4 to 5 hours, or 3 to 5 hours, depending on the size of the group, where we're actively working with spirit to help you heal and evolve, which is helping clean the energy of the body, the cells, the DNA, and other mental thoughts, preoccupations. And these are cleaned from the body and the system. So you might not know exactly what's being cleaned. Similar to as when you're in a hospital environment and perhaps you go to a, you go and get a procedure done, and you go into a situation and you have an anesthetic and you kind of come out of the experience and you're like, okay, great, my shoulder's now healed, my shoulder's fixed, I have more mobility in my shoulder. And this is my own experience of shoulder operations I'm talking about. But you don't know exactly what went in, exactly the way that the doctor went in and the way the doctor changed the things in the joints or sewed things together. But you can speak about the doctor with that afterwards. So the analogy of this with the ayahuasca ceremony is you'll go through a period of transformation where many things will leave the body, the mind, and the spirit, and you'll feel different afterwards, because that lens changes. That dirt, what it might be described as like a dirt on the lens, your experience of being a human or even multidimensional lifetimes, is then cleaned and cleared, so you no longer see that experience through that. So people come out of these experiences often having situations where we've had people who've come off antidepressants to be able to safely drink ayahuasca, and then they come through the experience and then they don't go back on them because they're not needing them anymore.
Right.
So I think that's some of the big transformations is people stop taking pharmaceuticals, because we say you have to refrain from taking these pharmaceuticals, and we go through this with everyone on an individual basis to come to our retreat. And then they're managing symptoms, and then on the retreat, the root cause of that is then healed, is released. So then you no longer need the medications to manage the symptoms, because the symptoms aren't there anymore.
Right.
Now, there's very different levels and stages of that, depending on what level you're in, how long you work with us, etc., your own personal situation. But there's varying different levels of that. So you might have someone who's then just like, I feel like I still need to go on antidepressants, but it might be like at 20% of what I was before. And then the integration work, the continued work with us, your integration of beginning to change and shift your life. Because like in my situation, your whole life might be depressing. The way that you're living your life, the way that your situation, your friendship circles, the work that you're doing, the location, that might actually just be a great cause of depression. So some of that aspect of the integration is then making conscious choices and changes when you go back that then enable you to then embody your new vibration. Because if you come to a retreat with us, there's going to be a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual change that when you go back to your life, that life may not be as congruent with what your new vibration is, which was why at that point I was very lucky to be able to have the opportunity, working for myself, to then decide to go to India, Nepal, and Peru, because I knew that if I went back to my old life, I'd probably get sucked back into the addictions, because all my friends were using drugs, all these types of things. So the integration process, we help you, and it's individual for each person, and that goes on for as long as possible. In my experience, you can be integrating a retreat with us for 3 to 5 to 10 years, depending on how much you want to be aware, how much you want to work with that. So these processes of 10 days with us are really a catalyst for you to have changes that could take 5, 10, 15, 20 years with just working with psychotherapy or yoga or meditation alone. But these processes are really big awakenings, and then it's kind of the putting of pieces of the puzzle back together that can take weeks, months, or even years. But then you just start seeing, wow, I'm actually in a long-term relationship. Wow, I've actually had a new job opportunity that arises that's actually more in alignment. Wow, I'm not as angry as I used to be anymore. I'm not taking medication. So there's so many different things that can occur, and it's unique to every individual. But really, if your intention is to heal and evolve, this is what we're here to help you to do. And if you spend that intense time, you can guarantee that things will shift and change. Don't know exactly how it will be for each individual, but there will be a process of healing and evolution that occurs.
That is awesome. I mean, I really, I really admire the kind of work when people dive into it and really try to figure out how they can really impact somebody else's life, right? And trauma is just one of those things that's so deep. You have to be willing to want to be in that with them, to do the work with them, because trauma can be, like you said, different for different people. And some traumas are really big, right? So, kudos to you for actually taking the stand to go ahead and say, I need to do something with my life, and then going to these different modalities and learning and doing all of that. So I have of course, a different perspective. I don't, do like trauma healing the way you do and all that kind of stuff. But I have found a lot of awakening and healing and stuff in my life through my experience with my faith, right? So I'm getting a lot of what you're saying, because I believe in that deep work, even though you're doing it in a little bit different space. I believe in that deep work, and I believe in really going and trying to find out what it is in you that you need to heal from. So kudos to you, Michael, and your wife. I hope that this thrives for you and that you get a lot of people coming your way, because I think it would really, I love that you said, when you go back to what you were doing before, you're going to realize maybe it's not congruent to where you are. And that is so huge, isn't it, Michael? You start to realize not just your jobs, but maybe your friends that you've been hanging out with, maybe the things you've been listening to, maybe the things you've been watching, all that stuff starts to change. And you realize none of that is congruent anymore because you've evolved, right? It's cool and scary at the same time, so I love the work you're doing. Good for you. I'm really glad. I'm glad you're doing it, and in a beautiful space the way you are. Look at that freaking mountain. Are you kidding me? Like, look at that. So jealous right now. So Michael, before I let you go, I know that you mentioned your website a couple of times, but I do want my audience to know where they can find you, right? Because this is going to be I think, a very intentional reach out to you and your wife and your business, because you're intentional, not just with, you don't have to come here for the 10-day retreat. We can also work online. We can also help you in trauma in that way. And I like that you said that you also work with healers, because I get a lot of those on here. I've had a lot of like Reiki masters on here and things like that. And so it'd be great. A lot of them listen. So it'd be great for them to know how to reach out to you and maybe work with you and all of that. So give us all of that information, where they can find you maybe online besides your website. I don't know if you do Instagram or anything like that, but go ahead and give us all that info.
Yeah, thanks so much, Neena. So firstly, yeah, absolutely. That faith, that coming home to that recognition of ourselves, whether it be, some people have faith and it might be Christianity. Some people have
Yeah.
faith and it might be more like Buddhism, or it might just be more spirituality. Ultimately for us, the coming home to the truth of who you are is the recognition of that consciousness. So
Right.
whichever path we have, whether it be through church or faith or other trauma healing modalities, we're not here to say that what that modality is for you. We're here to offer one of the paths that's been very
Right.
beneficial for us and many others. So if you do resonate with what we've shared and you'd like to know more, because we're very much about empowering you to recognize yourself as the infinite creator with and without plant medicines, as someone who's coming to heal, and also as someone who is here to help others heal and evolve, i.e. multidimensional healers. So please check out our website, casagalactica.com. I believe that will be in the show notes or somewhere around if you can't spell that. And yeah, we have everything on our website. We consciously don't work with social media. We've been off social media for a few years now,
Really
which
smart.
means that we have everything in one place. So you don't have to go looking for us. So you go to our website. The first thing I'd invite you to do is sign up to our newsletter, because if you go to sign up our newsletter, you're going to get a 5-hour free fundamentals of healing trauma workshop, which means that right now, from the comfort of your home, you can start taking your own healing journey to the next level. And then you get a
That's
beginner's
awesome.
guidebook to strengthening your intuition as well, completely free, written by my wife, Jamie, who's an incredible intuitive medium. And then you also get 20% off your first session with us for the first 7 days. So you can just take that, no obligation, just take that, consume all of what we have to share. And if that resonates with you even more, you can also reach out to us. So go to the bottom of our website in the footer. You can go straight away for a free consultation. You can also find our contact form. You can write a message. So whatever it may be, if you have more questions about what we've been sharing here today, what we've been discussing, you can ask about that. If you're interested in knowing more about our retreats, or a whole bunch of intuitive design and branding, which helps people as well, which Jamie does these amazing different courses of helping you to discover your calling, also to cultivate your calling. So if you are one of those healers out there as well, wanting to take that next step, get in contact with Jamie, because she helps so many people kind of take that kind of spiritual transformation that you're helping with people, and helps you take that to the next level, helps you reach more people, helps you really express your soul blueprint in the way of your work. Because I can speak from ourselves. When you find your path, and when you're able to then walk it, and then you're able to put that together and package it in a way that helps connect with people, and then you're able to be abundant through that process of helping others heal and evolve, it's so satisfying. I mean, I don't think I could do anything else. I mean, perhaps I could, but it just feels so resonant. We help people to find that. We help people to find that for themselves as well. Plus, we have our online trauma healing sessions, channeling sessions, intuitive readings. But like what we've been talking about the most here today is a 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreat. So go and check that out. Go to our growth portal as well. We have a load of different videos talking more in depth about different retreats, different situations as well. So you can go and get access to all of that right now. Wow. So I just really want to thank you, Neena, and I really want to thank everyone. Look forward to seeing with you, having some more conversations one-on-one. Send us a message, book a call with us, and yeah, we look forward to connecting with you soon. Yes. Thank you so much. Neena, you are a pro. Absolute pleasure to be here. Thanks for holding such a great space.
Oh, thank you. And I really, really, really thank you for being here too, because you opened up my mind too. I was like thinking of a lot of things that you were talking about, and it really resonated with me, like especially that, that healing process and the fact that it's a journey. I love that. I love that you were real about that. I guess it's because I love to hold this space where we can have real, authentic conversations. And I don't want anybody to come on here and be like, oh yeah, you'll be healed in 2 days. Gotcha. And you'll never need to do anything else again. And I love that you were like, no, this is a journey. And I am still going through this journey. And so I really admire that, Michael. I love what you and your wife are doing. And, thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for dropping that wisdom and knowledge. I really appreciate it. Really, really do. So thank you. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me and Michael today. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. I just got my download numbers. I think it was like 31,000 downloads for the month. I really love you guys. So just make sure that you keep connecting and watching and sharing and all that great stuff. I'm going to make sure to link all of Michael's information below so that you guys can follow him. Make sure that you guys work with him. All of you guys who have been on my show and listen, who are like healers and Reiki healers and all of that, you heard what he said. They also like help you find your message and who you are to package that up so that you can start impacting other people. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.